Sierra cleared to take off.
Welcome aboard PLS Express. English, for the executive on the go.
Hi, and welcome to the only business English course that doesn't talk about business. Why is that? Because we talk about something far more important than business, something that helps you make business better. Small talk. In other words, colloquial conversation before getting down to business. We call this concept small talk, big business. And in this course, we're going to be dealing with a whole series of topics of small talk that will help you establish better rapport between yourself and your business associates, your clients, and other people with whom you do business. Before getting started, I'd like to bring your attention to the format of this video. Throughout the video, you're going to see me speaking, and at times words will appear on the screen. Those words are target vocabulary. Another important topic is the material that makes up this course. There are 3 items that make it up: the video lesson, the document brief that summarizes the key points and includes an occasional article, and the lesson check, which is an email that includes multiple choice questions in order to test the knowledge of what you learned in the lesson. Our topic of today, small talk, big business. What we're going to do is give you a general overview of the 16 topics that make up this entire course. So stay tuned to the different concepts that we're going to be talking about, because they are important and you might just want to use them in your next small talk before some big business. So what about you is the typical question that you can make to somebody in a small talk situation when you've said something about yourself, something interesting. It could be, something about your work or your favorite sport or something of the kind, and you want to know the same input from the other person in a very casual way. So, you finish telling the other person what your favorite sport is or what your hobby is or whatever it is, and you just say to them, so what about you? And that kind of opens the door for them to tell you something along similar lines to you. So this first topic of destination, so what about you, is ideally designed to help you, go back and forth between making statements and generating questions about people. Again, it could be yourself, it could be the other person, or it could be a third party, right? And in fact, it could even be somebody famous. Obviously it would be a third party in that case. Our second topic of destination is called All-Star, and of course it deals with sports. Who doesn't like sports? Well, I can think of a few people I know who actually don't like sports, but in small talk it's very common to talk about sports, especially when there's an important tournament going on, whether it's the World Cup, which is coming up this year in 2010. If you're dealing with people from the United States, it could be sports from that country that are exclusive to that country, such as baseball, American football, ice hockey, although ice hockey is common to the United States and Canada, right? And all-star is a term that obviously comes from American sports, and we know it because it's part of pop culture. And when we're talking about sports, we're talking about people as well, like we mentioned in the previous topic, but we're also talking about the little specific words that make up each sport, right? And if you've played a specific sport, you're going to know that the vocabulary of rugby isn't the same as the vocabulary of football, soccer, or of course the vocabulary of American football. Our topic of destination 3 is called hometown. Hometown is the place where you're from. It's either where you were born or at least where you were raised, where you grew up. Hometown is a really important topic when you're receiving people from another country, to your hometown, or at least to your local office. because it's the kind of vocabulary that you're going to need to be able to tell them about places, about famous people, about history, about the food, about, what are some other locations that they might want to go to. One of the interesting things that we'll be dealing with, because it does have to do with speaking about something that is not normally in the English language, right? It's the distinction on when you use English to describe something and when you don't. Our topic of destination 4 is called frequent flyer. Imagine what that could be about. Yes, of course, it does have to do with those things that make up flying frequently, traveling frequently, being able to talk about how the trip was, and whether you had a long layover at this airport or at that airport, or whether you have jet lag, which is when you are tired because you change different time zones, right? Like if you just flew in from Tokyo and you're arriving in New York City, there's no question about it, you are going to have jet lag. Okay, you're going to feel that hour difference in your body. You're going to be 12 hours tired. And also talking about destinations, right? Because as a frequent flyer, as an executive who is a frequent flyer, you get to visit a lot of places, and you get to know a lot of people from a lot of places, which is also a way of getting to know other places. Well, if you're here listening to this, it's because you grew up. In other words, because you were once a child and you became an adult. And growing up is essentially a topic that deals with that. It's being able to talk about the different stages of life, the point where we were children, and then when we went to school or to the university, and how we've moved along to where we are today. And growing up is an expression that means that, but it means a little bit more than that. It also has to do with how we've changed over the years. So growing up has to do with that, and it's a good opportunity to practice speaking about the past. Current events deals with speaking about the news happening today. It's typical that when you are traveling abroad, there's something going on there that isn't going on in your country, so it's good to know what the current events are so that you could easily fall into a conversation and not feel out of place. Likewise, it's also good to be able to bring a person who's visiting your country up to speed on what's going on in terms of the news, if there's something that they ought to know, of course. And naturally, because news can sometimes be sensitive, we will deal with how to sometimes be able to navigate the waters of safe and unsafe topics so that you can maintain the best rapport possible and do that while using the right target language. Mardi Gras is a very important festival celebrated in the United States in the city of New Orleans, but known throughout the world. In this topic of destination, we're going to be talking about exactly that. Celebrations, festivals, holidays, important dates in different countries and what they mean, and being able to generate small talk around that, around those dates. Like always, to cover the ground in the two situations that are typical, whether you are telling somebody about an important date that's celebrated in your country, or vice versa, where the other person is telling you about it, but perhaps if you're more prepared, you already know, and you can add some insight into that. Topic of destination number 8 is a review of topics 1 through 7. So we're going to revisit those different topics, those different destinations, revisit the vocabulary, the key concepts, and be able to incorporate them a bit more, because this is the way that language works. And also it will be a topic what we're going to try to clear any doubts. So there's going to be a lot of feedback in topic number 8. Okay, we've come to the end of this first journey. Again, our objective today, small talk, big business, okay, was to just cover the general ground on the first 8 topics that we're going to be seeing in this course. And once again, remember that this course is comprised of 3 different elements: the video, brief material, that's a document, and the quiz. Okay, so you want to make sure that after you watch this, you check out those items. And of course, if you have any questions, be sure to submit those by email. So thanks for joining us on this journey through small talk, big business, and I'll see you on the next trip. Bye-bye.